The world woke up to chaos. Headlines from major outlets, Variety, People, BBC Entertainment, exploded across the internet with the same shocking announcement. Sam Heughan Caitriona Balfe officially married after 12 years together. Fans didn't believe it at first. They thought it was a rumor, a misprint, a clickbait headline gone wrong. But within minutes, confirmations appeared from multiple sources, and suddenly the impossible became real. The earliest leak came from a small Scottish newspaper, the kind known for catching things long before Hollywood notices. According to their report, the ceremony took place at a private estate nestled deep within the Highlands, a place beloved by Outlander fans and meaningful to both Sam and Caitríona since the earliest days of their partnership. The estate staff claimed NDAs had been signed weeks earlier. A florist hinted at preparing a wedding arch unlike any other. And a local villager swore they saw Sam and Caitríona walking hand in hand toward a candlelit venue the night before. Eyewitnesses described the event as intimate, emotional, and breathtaking. No paparazzi, no crowds, no red carpet or Hollywood glitz. Just a small circle of their closest friends, a few family members, and a vow exchange so powerful that several guests reportedly cried. One attendee claimed Sam couldn't finish his sentence at first. His voice cracked, and Caitríona squeezed his hand to steady him. Another source said the way they looked at each other felt like they had already been married in their hearts for years. Fans immediately pieced together the timeline, trying to understand how such a monumental event happened without the world noticing. They revisited old interviews, analyzing subtle glances and moments of emotional depth that suddenly made sense in hindsight. They pointed out the undeniable connection, the chemistry that seemed almost too real, the inside jokes, the way they always protected each other, the unspoken language that only people who share a long emotional history possess. The internet erupted with comments like, 12 years. Of course, this explains everything. But the biggest shock wasn't the wedding itself. It was what journalists uncovered next. Sam and Caitríona had been planning this for months. Sources close to the couple confirmed they'd chosen the Highlands because it was where their bond first began, where they built trust, where they navigated fame, where they fell into a pattern of leaning on one another when life became too overwhelming. One insider revealed that Sam once said privately, "If I ever marry, it'll be somewhere quiet, somewhere meaningful, somewhere she feels safe." Fans who saw that quote years ago now viewed it with brand new eyes. Speculation grew even more intense when a staff member at the venue revealed a detail that stunned everyone. The vows weren't traditional, they weren't rehearsed, they were personal letters written to each other, letters they had kept, revised, added to, and carried with them for over a decade. It wasn't just a wedding, the staff member said. It was the culmination of something that had been building for years. Social media went into a meltdown. Some were ecstatic, others were speechless, a few were heartbroken in that uniquely dramatic fandom way. But everyone agreed on one thing. This wasn't a sudden romance. This wasn't impulsive. This wasn't a publicity stunt. This was the result of 12 years of shared journeys, successes, heartbreaks, secrets, sacrifices, and unspoken devotion finally stepping into the light. What confused fans the most was how the pair had managed to hide a relationship for so long. One entertainment reporter suggested the secrecy wasn't meant to deceive, it was meant to protect. Some bonds can't survive in the public eye, they said. Some relationships need privacy to stay alive. Another insider echoed that sentiment, revealing that Sam and Caitríona always feared that going public would drown them in speculation, pressure, and expectations. They wanted something real, something theirs. Then came the detail that sent the fandom into overdrive. A guest at the ceremony, who chose to remain anonymous, shared a single line Sam said during his vows. 12 years wasn't a wait, it was the journey we needed to finally arrive at this moment. Those words spread like wildfire. Fans cried, journalists quoted it in headlines. Comment sections turned into emotional war zones of disbelief, joy, and pure shock. The world had questions, millions of them. How long had they really been together? When did friendship become something deeper? Why now? Why after 12 years? And what had they kept hidden all this time? But one guest, perhaps speaking too soon, offered a final clue. If people knew the truth behind those 12 years, they'd understand why today had to happen. In the hours after the wedding leak broke the internet, insider reports began pouring in, each one adding another layer to a story that had been quietly unfolding for more than a decade. One of the most emotional accounts came from a crew member who had worked with Sam and Caitríona since the very first season of Outlander. They described moments during filming when the pair would instinctively gravitate toward each other between takes, sharing quiet conversations or exchanging glances that didn't match the rehearsed lines. Everyone felt the connection, the crew member said. We just didn't know where the line between acting and reality truly was. As the world tried to process the news, another revelation surfaced. Sam and Caitríona had faced more obstacles than anyone imagined. A close friend of theirs revealed that the reason they didn't go public earlier wasn't fear of scandal, it was fear of losing what they had. Fame, expectations, and the pressure of a massive global fandom created a shadow that followed them everywhere. They were terrified that the world would ruin what they had, the friend admitted. So, they protected it, even from people who thought they knew them. The story grew even more complex when sources began discussing the couple's long, difficult decisions throughout the years. They had attempted to separate more than once, not because the love wasn't strong, but because the timing felt impossible. Projects kept them apart, public scrutiny drained them, and relationships with other people created emotional storms neither was prepared for. But no matter how far they drifted, they always found their way back. It was like gravity, someone close to Caitríona said. Every time she tried to move on, she felt the pull back toward him. Journalists started digging into old timeline inconsistencies, spotting gaps where the pair seemed to disappear from public view simultaneously. There were unexplained trips, matching locations, and overlapping work breaks that now looked far more intentional than accidental. Fans rewatched interviews, noticing the smiles that lingered a second too long or the way Sam always softened whenever Caitríona spoke. Suddenly, 12 years of subtle clues snapped together like puzzle pieces, forming a picture that had been hiding in plain sight. Then came the emotional bombshell from a guest who attended the private ceremony. According to them, Caitríona shared a deeply personal truth in her vows, one that left the room silent. She admitted that there were years when she believed they would never end up together. Not because she didn't want it, but because life kept placing them in impossible circumstances. I thought loving you meant losing everything else, she said. But in the end, not choosing you would have been the real loss. Those words hit the guests harder than any rumor or headline ever could. What made the moment even more powerful was Sam's reaction. Tears streamed down his face, not hidden, not brushed away, but openly visible. People who had only seen the composed, confident version of Sam in public were stunned to learn how vulnerable he became during the ceremony. When it was his turn to speak, he said something that reportedly caused even the officiant to choke up. For 12 years, the world saw us as partners, but only we knew what we truly were to each other. Meanwhile, the fandom began speculating wildly about the timing of the wedding. Why now? Why after so many years of secrecy? An entertainment outlet claimed the couple finally decided to make their relationship official after a life-changing event earlier this year, something only close family and friends knew about. The article suggested emotional turbulence, personal healing, and a moment of clarity that pushed them to stop waiting for the right time and simply choose each other. But the most dramatic twist came from a source who had been close to the couple for over a decade. They revealed that Sam and Caitríona nearly went public 5 years ago, but an unexpected situation forced them to pull back. It wasn't doubt, the source said. It was fear that exposure would tear them apart. They decided their love was worth protecting, even if it meant the world would never know about it. As the dust settled and the news became impossible to deny, fans were left in awe, not just at the wedding, but at the revelation of a love story that had survived time, distance, fame, pressure, and silence. A love story that refused to collapse even when everything around it demanded separation. And then, Just as the world began to catch its breath, a final whisper emerged from someone who attended the event. They claimed Sam and Caitríona didn't just exchange vows that night. They shared another announcement privately with guests. An announcement so unexpected, so emotional, that it left everyone in the room stunned. And guaranteed the world had not heard the last of their story.